Hi everyone, this is Terri-Ann and Jennifer of Connections 50 Plus. Today's Wednesday, Facebook Live is coming up. We've got a special topic.
Oh yes, we will be chatting about building our money momentum through candid conversations.
Very important topic.
As a financial coach, I have found that many people are very hesitant to chat about money,
Yes.
especially not even to their friends or family. You know, anytime the topic of money comes up, they
Yes.
sort of, everything around their financial situation. Tell me, Terri-Ann, what you really think is the reason for that?
Jen, I think in our culture, in Western cultures, Eastern cultures, everywhere, your worth. You see this word worth and value? It's always put up into some monetary term. And your value is measured in some stock of wealth. Your house, your car, your bank account, the value of your stock portfolio. And I think that when people get into measuring you versus me, especially if we in the 50 plus cohorts, we may have built a lot of value. We may have built a lot of obvious, measurable, visible wealth. And people may have a lot of expectations of what we can do because of those things. But the hidden side of how we got the wealth, whether it was financed by our assets or financed by debt, may cause that facade to be a sham. And therefore, when it's time to talk about money, talk about what you can and can't do, many people get into an uncomfortable place. They get into creating shadows and walls.
What's happening also, and you mentioned it there about, the status quo.
Yes.
And at 50 plus, normally you say to yourself, I should be in a better position at this stage. My finances, everything should be, on par. I should have, achieved most of my financial goal or achieving my financial goals. And when I step out there, I should look like I am prosperous. And if that isn't the case, I don't want to chat about it, because I believe if I share my story with you and you tell others, then you know how the gossip goes and you know what happens next.
But Jen, I remember our conversation the other day, because we were talking about some of our clients and talking about our business packages and helping entrepreneurs and helping people build wealth and helping people build their legacies. And I think it's important to talk about that. And we were making the point that even within a family, it is so difficult. Sometimes children have no clue how their parents make money.
Because I have found traditionally, money is not a topic that is being discussed.
In some families.
Some families.
Not all
and
families.
I'm saying some families.
Entrepreneurial families and families that have the history of business, it's easy. It's an open conversation.
It should be a conversation among all families. Right? Let me start by saying that. It should be a conversation, money conversation. So there are situations where within a family, where if you have adults working within the home, the parents don't know how much money they're working for or what they are doing with their money. The reverse also, the children in the home don't even know what their parents working for. So
and therefore what is possible?
They don't know, so they don't know what sort of income or joint income, total income coming into that family home well at that mountain.
But Jennifer, people will say, why is it important for the family to know what its income capacity, its income earning capacity is? Why is it important?
That's critical information. And why? Because as a family, okay, let me work first of all the parent. You have a vision, you have certain goals for your children. Maybe education, maybe getting them in business, and with this you starting from early. So you're not waiting until they leave school.
Even if you're late.
So what you do, why is it important? Is because there's a lot of money needed, and let's use education to fund for a certain goal.
You know, I also don't think that parents realize that having a discussion with their children on money, how much money is available, how much money is needed for them to get the things you want. It's such a valuable tool to teach your children how to manage their own lives.
Oh, yes.
Because in that discussion, children become realistic about what they can expect and what they can get. They are not left seeing the trappings that are around the house or the home and believing that, well, I can get this, and then they become demanding and they put pressure on the parents, and the parents yield to the pressure. Okay? Yeah. And I also think that when we fail to sit down and show our children that the pool of money is this, I work for this, and they get the lesson that my parents are able to provide for me at a sacrifice.
Other thing, Terri-Ann, there is that false, we talk about entitlement, but there's that false sense that my parents are well off. And I'm telling you this, in situations, there are adults trying with the grants, by the way, and they believe, I'm telling you, they believe, and I'm sharing a situation where they believe that the home they were living in belonged to their parents.
Yes.
And it was not like that.
Yes.
That home was sort of family home, and their father happened to be the one who remained in the home.
Yes.
But when their grandparents died, it was left to the entire siblings.
Of course.
And the siblings, you get into this agreement.
Yeah.
But it wasn't theirs. He couldn't mortgage it. He couldn't do anything.
It didn't belong to his children or his grandchildren.
No, and if he dropped dead, guess what?
They could have been, for their share.
Yeah, because they would want to sell and divide. That is why it's critical to have the discussion of money. And when everyone understands what is happening, they will be more appreciative of the sacrifices that they have to make.
No, I think the family discussion is critical. But before the family has a discussion, there's a discussion that has to happen. We as adults, we have to sit down and talk to ourselves.
Yes, I agree, because
and be real
and not be out there pretending.
As the people say, fronting,
letting people believe that everything is all right.
And as it was when I was there, or whatever, or that I don't have to prepare for a more rigid
because
state.
There are many people out there at our stage who, Terri-Ann, had worked hard, really did well, and prepared, well, in their minds, prepared and saved. But guess what? Let me tell you, things happen. And we're not sure what could happen.
Yes.
And we may feel we have money put aside for that nest egg put aside, but it's not enough. So we have to come to terms sometimes that we cannot enjoy that quality, and when I say quality lifestyle, that extravagant lifestyle as professionals. Professionals we may have enjoyed, especially if you had certain perks on the job. You enjoy those things. You're moving into a different stage of life, and you cannot afford to panic.
Jennifer, you know what it is? If I am a senior manager, and I'm talking to the high income people here, or even anyone, senior manager or whatever it is, the expenditure to maintain my lifestyle, the kind of clothes I have to buy, the kinds of places, how I have to present myself, how I might choose to get there, is a requirement of my position.
Oh, yes.
When I am no longer in that position, I don't have to change my car every 3 years. I don't have to have lavish dinner parties every month. I don't have to do these things. So sometimes we personally, because we confuse ourselves with our, we continue a lifestyle that's not necessary.
So Terri-Ann, you should have that self-talk.
Yes.
I have known people who, when they left that position, even changed their cars.
Yes.
Instead of driving the high-end car, because maintaining without your traveling allowance, etc.
Or not the traveling allowance, the company paying for the car or paying for the gas.
So many decide, well, you know what? I'm going to sell that car. Buy a very good car. Yes.
Little Japanese
because
or
this
Korean.
Is what I could afford at this stage.
And you know, that brings us on to another thing that's helpful. Because you have yourself making these transitions and you have to take your family around with you.
Oh, yes.
All right? And sometimes you might know what you have to do, you might want to, and your family knows. But sometimes, Jennifer, you see these friends, these partners, sometimes they are assets and sometimes they are liabilities. Because sometimes you may have a friend who may understand that is a real asset, and I'm thinking of one person right now who will look at you straight in the eye and say to me, Terri-Ann, what are you trying to do? You know, you can't do this anymore. It's okay. We don't have to go to this restaurant or that restaurant. Let's just stay home and make something easy.
But you know,
some
when you get
side.
used, Terri-Ann, to living in a certain way, it is not easy, as you say, to come down. Well, that's a little step down. They consider it stepping down.
But it is a step down. You are no longer Mr. X or the X of Y, or you are now no longer getting the income stream. You're not getting the commissions. You don't have the perks. So you are no longer there.
But when you're in that circle, and your friend said, okay, let us go for dinner, it means you go into a certain level restaurant.
Or if you don't choose the filet mignon
or reduce the amount of time that it may be just once a month.
Exactly.
You let them know that, okay, I will still go because you want the ambience and you want to feel good.
Jen, let me tell you what I do. I love me a beautiful bottle of wine. And I mean the whole bottle, not one glass. I do well for Christmas.
I don't want to say she's a wine, right? It's not that.
I appreciate good wine. And I know I can drink a bottle of wine, okay?
I could only have one.
But listen, I can no longer do that in a restaurant.
Oh, yes.
But the same bottle of wine that may have cost $700 in a restaurant, I can enjoy my bottle of wine by going in the grocery or going to the distributor and having a nice little lime at home.
Yeah, and that is what we could do. You still getting together with friends. So Terri-Ann, what we have to do is look at I'm asking out there, those who are listening, what do you do now? You check yourself and decide, well, okay, this is what I enjoy doing, because we do not want to take away your joy. No. This is what I enjoy doing. Put a cost to it and see whether you could afford it or what you would not do and what you would sacrifice. And then say, okay, I am no longer going to buy myself or I don't want to say shoes, and these men, it will be something for your car, some fancy thing for your car. But what I would do instead is I would say this money will go to the dinner. or whatever. You just do some juggling.
But there is another corner of people that I want us to talk to. We, the people who have our own businesses.
Yes, the
entrepreneurs.
Yes.
The people who are self-employed. They mistake the cash in the till for their money. And because you have probably left, and I think they have it the worst, because your family and your friends love you. But because you've now gone into business and you are still in business, you're fighting up to maintain a level of appearance, corporate entertainment.
Because you have to look successful as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur out there, you need to look successful. You know, they say, you fake it until you make it, but it's not easy.
But you have to fake it at a real standard. And we have met people who are really bleeding themselves, faking it. You can fake it in the sense of, it means that you make the effort. You put the effort in.
But be realistic.
But be realistic. Because the worst thing that you can see is a business person, an entrepreneur, trying, and it's so easy to see through the fact that this is a veneer. Your creditors will know, your bankers will know, your staff will know. When it's time to do something, you can't have supplies, you know. So this momentum that we need to make sure our money continues to flow and bring us benefit and bring us wealth.
But
it's so multifaceted.
You know, I'm thinking, as an entrepreneur, Terri-Ann, it is really critical for you to keep stock of the things that you are doing. Because sometimes, take for instance, Christmas giveaways. It is something that, if it is
your Christmas giveaway, carnival fete tickets.
Yes. If big companies not even doing that now.
They don't even have Christmas parties anymore.
So look at where your money is going. Look, you may dismiss certain things and think, well, okay, if I do X in terms of maybe a marketing strategy, I would bring in. Now, it could or could not work, but what I'm saying is, check your outlook. Check to see the things that you believe may be bringing in that money, and it may not.
It
may be just bleeding.
Jennifer,
your
this
business.
is the saddest waste of money that an entrepreneur could do. It is the entrepreneur who is ashamed or afraid to ask for a sale, afraid to go to the customer and sell, and instead you're spending all your money on all kinds of ads and trinkets that have nothing to do with generating income. It is as bad as the parent who does not tell their children, listen, I got retrenched. Our income is now half. We can't continue as we did
I never
before.
saw it like that, Terri-Ann, but you're quite correct. You're quite correct.
And Jen, I would give one tip. And it's applicable to individuals, it's applicable to families, it's applicable to entrepreneurs. And I say it to you as to be a good friend to someone. The best thing you can do is to remind yourself, remind your family that this is a new stage. It takes time.
Oh, yes.
Time and effort is going to bring you to a stage of comfort. If you've just left the world of work and you've started a new venture, there will be an adjustment.
Oh, yes.
No one, in fact, when you pretend there's no adjustment, that's when people look at you and wonder what's wrong.
They tend to think that within a few months,
it's going to be 5 years.
You hear someone will tell me, well, okay, well, I taken like the first 6 months, so I think it's going to be easy. And then by the end of the year, things will pick up. And as you said, it goes with your personal situation, everything. But what I want to talk about here is how you go about that conversation.
Yeah.
Because I've been asked, oh yes, you could say have the conversation, but how do we really open up especially
because it's
if
about
you are
building
fronted.
generational wealth.
And that
It is about generational wealth. You have to do it.
So if you don't do it, you get stuck, and at the end of the day, nothing is happening. You're not making progress. And I would think, and we said it earlier, you start with yourself, that self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have your mindset is important. You have to make sure that, yes, to have that conversation, you're very confident about yourself now. I am okay. This is my situation. I may not have the cash or the investments that you think I had, but
I had.
But this is the situation.
Yeah.
And then you move from there. Now, one, you're respecting so after you finish, really build that self-confidence and face the truth. Then you can open up that conversation, whether with your business partner, whether with your friend, whether with your family, whether it's your spouse,
your parents,
and that's a whole other discussion. How do you talk money? Have that money
talk. Sometimes we're not that strong. And I would say sometimes we've got to
involve someone else.
Got to involve someone else.
That could happen
You've
too.
Got
of
to
course.
Find someone.
Of course.
You can say, listen, I need some support.
I agree with that.
Even if come and sit down with me while I talk to my wife, or talk to the children, or talk to my clients.
And actually,
reach out to
Terri-Ann,
someone.
when you have, if you think you wouldn't get that respect from the group because you're already fronting and they may say you could say anything, you have us where we are.
Yes.
Bringing in someone, a professional, of course, to sit in and listen, it helps that break that tension, and get that conversation flowing. How many people do that? I don't know when it comes to money. Of course, we don't need to tell you we are here to give that support.
I want to say also, Jennifer, because it's 6:59 and I don't know where you hide the time, but you hid it somewhere. We recognize this as a critical issue.
Yes.
And we always give you the advice, stop and check. And we want to tell you, you can't miss next week. Next week, we are going to be launching something fantastic. Yes. We are going to be helping you to really make that start by measuring where you are now.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be a fantastic time.
and Terri-Ann, for all of us out there, just at the 50 plus, just know this is an exciting time.
Oh, yes.
This is the time you release all the baggage. You worked hard, you're making a decision.
It's for you.
This is your time. This is our time.
Yes.
Don't feel afraid. Drive the same car you're driving. You don't need to spend that money.
And if you have to change it, buy a good one at a lower level. That's
But
cool.
make the decision based on your happiness and the future. Yes. All right? And remember, you may want to leave that legacy.
We'll get onto that. Generational wealth and legacy. If your family and your children don't know where you're coming from now and where the wealth is coming from, talk to your family about what you earn, what you spend, how you earn that money. You will be teaching them that things don't grow on trees, that you got to work for it.
Okay, so at this stage, we are saying to you, bye, keep following us. And yes, enjoy the season, whatever you want to do, just enjoy.